Hold on right there. Just want to get a quick mental image. It was my mental flash. Well, you laugh now, but you're going to be doing that joke later on, I guarantee it. Hi, welcome to the Perfect Flash video. In this video, I'm going to show you how for less than $10, you can produce one of the best flash appearing effects in the business. You're going to love this. So the whole thing boils down to something very simple, and that is a hidden flash unit. Now there's been a big deal made about different flash units and what the character of the light is and the color of the light. This is a flash unit I've actually been using for more than 12 years. I was running around with this and people were saying, boy, you've got a Fism flash. And I actually didn't know what a Fism flash was at the time. And then I found out the Fism flash is a beautiful, beautiful effect that you may want to look into and research by a very brilliant man, John Cornelius. And I didn't realize that I'd actually made a very scaled down but very workable unit that accomplished really the same effect. Now, this initially is a little difficult to tell what it is because I've got Perfboard on either side, but this is nothing more than the flash from a disposable camera, which I sandwiched between two pieces of Perfboard and ran a couple of wires down to a pocket so that I could set off the flash remotely. Now there's several different ways to set off the flash. You can use a foot switch, which when you're having both hands free is a very good way to go. I've heard of people using a mercury switch, which is something that is used in alarm systems so that when you tilt a certain way, the flash will go off and again your hands are free. I usually use one of two methods in this particular flash that I've been using for so long. One is the remote switch, as mentioned, that goes through my tuxedo and down to a lower pocket. And the other is I built a button, as you can probably see, right here into the front of the unit so that when it's in my pocket and hidden in my handkerchief behind just one layer of the cloth here, I can reach back and with my pinky, when I press on the unit here, while my hands are making a dramatic gesture, I'll get that flash. And that puts your hands in the right position anyway for the flash because you want to see the light streaming through your hands. Now very quickly, I do want to run over the gag. The gag is so silly that you're probably going to think that it would never work, but I can tell you right now after doing this for many years that it really sets an audience into a tremendous amount of laughter. And that is I will simply come out with my flash ready to go. And of course, the great thing about this style of flash is to the audience, it just comes from nowhere. They don't know that it's coming from your pocket. So I'll come out and I'll say, wait a minute, I want to get a quick mental picture of everybody. And I'll pose, and then that flash goes off towards everybody, and they all laugh. Also, if you have something dramatic happen when you're doing your magic act, it's beautiful. It's an emphasis on that. You say, wait a minute, hold that face. I want to get a quick mental picture of that. And boom, there's that mental flash, and it kind of sets everybody spinning. It throws them off. It's a super, super misdirection, a great gag. And the final thing I've done with my mental flash is, before doing a book test, I'll sometimes say, let me get a quick mental picture of what you've got in your mind. Again, you've got a gag, you relax the audience a little bit, you get kind of a jovial mood going, and then boom, you come through with the prediction on the book, and it's a perfect circle for a magic effect. So let's get into some of the basics on how one of these will get put together. And at the end of this video, I also want to mention I'm going to have some sources available, including myself, because I've actually collected quite a number of these flash units, which are ready to go. For those that don't want to solder their own wires or do that kind of thing, I'll set you up with everything you need to get going, and all you'll have to do is a little bit of gluing. So let's get to the main part of the flash video. All right, you're going to want to begin by very, very carefully disassembling your camera. As you do this, keep in mind that the capacitor has a storage charge of over 300 volts. Give that a discharge with a well-insulated screwdriver. The basic circuit board has a positive and negative terminal for the battery, and then two spade connections, which are what will set off the strobe when a switch is soldered across them. They're just a few simple parts: a AA battery holder, a couple of push buttons, and get a big piece of Perfboard. I got all this at Radio Shack. just to make things neat and tidy, I usually break anything off the circuit board that's going to get in the way. 2 switches are used, one for your pocket and one for the unit itself. Solder those across those 2 connections. Now there is a switch on each strobe which starts the cycle and the charge up on the strobe. So let's go ahead and just bridge that with some solder. Alright, it's time to wire in that single pen light battery holder. Very easy to do, just 2 solder connections. If you can believe it, we are electrically done with our strobe unit. The case is equally simple. I just cut that Perfboard and painted it. It's very easy to cut. You can even break it apart with your fingers so that it fits the strobe. And our first button will mount on the strobe unit itself through a hole drilled in the case. And the batteries will mount at the bottom of the Perfboard just as shown. A little bit of glue is used on the batteries and you'll see how it comes through the holes. I usually use goop glue. I'll use that for just about anything. Silicone glue will also work. Go ahead and cover up all the high voltage components with whatever glue you choose, and then you're going to lay the second piece of Perfboard on top of all that glue and hold it together with a rubber band. This actually completes assembly of the unit. Alright, it's been overnight. It looks to me like the glue is almost dry. I left this on a heater overnight, so I have a feeling we kind of sped up the process of the glue drying. So we'll take the rubber band off, and it really is a very nice unit. Your strobe, the button in the front, went ahead and I threw a battery in. I heard the strobe winding up, so this is the big moment when we'll find out if all of our hard work here is going to pay off. We'll give it a quick test from here. I'll press the button on the front. Woo! Alright, these are very, very bright, as you can tell, even on camera, which doesn't really catch the whole flash. Now to load this in your pocket, in the bottom of my pocket, I put a little piece of foam rubber. And that's just because the unit wasn't quite tall enough to peek over the top. So this is how I boosted it a little bit. And then I'm going to cover the strobe under just, and if you use silk as a matter of fact, this would probably be an even brighter flash. But I'm going to just use what came with the tuxedo here. And if you fold it into a square, and then fold the edges around the strobe unit, make a nice little pocket kerchief. Don't know what the formal name for that is. And I'll put it in here. Give it a test from our second switch. Okay, now usually I'd adjust that in the mirror a little bit and get it really pretty for you, but since I don't have a mirror right now, I'm going to reach into that pocket. Now in my lower pocket, I've got the other push button switch that's at the end of the long wire that we soldered on. So by just putting a hand in a pocket, we can do the gag again. You've seen this enough times, I know, but let's give it one more try. Mental picture, and get our mental flash. Oh, it works beautifully. And that's all there is to building a beautiful pocket flash that'll allow you to do a tremendous number of effects. So have fun with that. For those of you that are a little more ambitious, we're going to go to a high power version.